engines. Pull those belts down tight one more time, warm up those tires, hit your marks, and let's go racing, boys and girls. NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, Formula E, and NHRA Racing Talk. This is the Championship Racing Network. Now here is your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson, with producer John Myers.
Hey, welcome into, I don't know, we ready for Noah's Ark yet? Monsoon season here in the state of Alabama.
Yeah.
Good
Tell
night.
me about it.
I'm ready for it to stop for a little bit. I really am. I mean, I know rain is good. It helps everything. We were in a little bit of a drought and all that, but can we just spread it out a little bit? Get a sunny day here and there, just every once in a while.
That's true.
Good night. Good morning to you. I'm Steve West. That's Matt Nicholson. Producer John Myers is on CRN Live on YouTube. Got John Bird over there holding things down here on the flagship station. And you as well. If you want to be a part of the show, you can via text or via call, 205-545-9950. Or go on to YouTube. If you go on to CRN Live on YouTube, and you can get involved in the chat there. You can also watch us on Real Talk 99.5 TV if you so choose. We don't have the chat going live there, but you can. Would love to have you be a part of the show in any way, shape, or form here as we get right down into the nitty-gritty of it. Last weekend had that, that pall over things, I guess. Everybody had Kyle Busch on their mind.
Oh, yeah.
And it really didn't matter where you were. Everybody did.
Yeah, it was everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, even Formula One in Canada kind of talked about it to a certain extent. But Indy 500, obviously everything going on up at Charlotte. And that's where we begin as we look back on last Saturday evening at Charlotte Motor Speedway. O'Reilly Auto Parts did dodge the rain enough to get in enough laps to satisfy NASCAR officials, not necessarily the drivers. We'll get back to that in the news. That came on lap 90, end of stage number 2. Light rain was falling when the second stage was coming to an end, and it just seemed to pick up, and it caused NASCAR to just go ahead and call it official. The winner, Moonlighter Ross Chastain, not only dealt with the rain, but running through some oil, which caused him to slap the outside wall, brought out a caution, which ended stage 2. Again, controversy. We'll get to that in a little bit. He gets his third O'Reilly Auto Parts Series win of his career. Chastain, in the end, beats out Jesse Love and Austin Hill. Jesse Love not quiet about things. William Sawalich, Corey Day, Connor Zilich, Ryan Sieg, Moonlighter Cole Custer, Carson Kvapil, Rajah Caruth filled out the top 10. This is turning into a runaway.
It's shaping up to be one just like Cup's doing right now.
And in that way, it's probably really good that once we get into the chase, not the playoffs, but the chase, at least we reset and it tightens things up a little bit.
Yeah, it does, but the way some of them are doing so far all across all 3 series is shaping up to be a runaway in all 3.
It might
and
just
it
be.
And it can turn into one quick.
Absolutely. Justin Allgaier continues to lead the points in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series over Jesse Love in second place, 696 to 551.
Yep. 145-point lead.
Wow. Corey Day is third. Sheldon Creed has slipped from second to fourth. And then you got Brandon Jones, Austin Hill, Sammy Smith, Carson Kvapil, Parker Retzlaff, William Sawalich, Sam Mayer, Taylor Gray. Taylor Gray's the last one in. He's got a slim 2-point margin over Rajah Caruth for that 12th and final chase slot. And this, I want to take a moment here because Rajah Caruth is somebody that I find interesting in the fact that he is full-time, but he's splitting his time between 2 different cars, 2 different teams, 2 different crew chiefs, and in some ways 2 different ways of doing things, and he's still being relatively consistent going through the process.
He's being in the shape he's in. He's been very consistent. I mean, I think he's had 1 bad race with Jordan Anderson, maybe 2, and he's only got a 2-point deficit to get in.
Not bad at all.
No.
Congratulations to him. Last Sunday morning, the delayed from Friday night and then delayed again Saturday Craftsman Truck Series race finally got rolling. But with a clock, this was really more Fox Sports than NASCAR. NASCAR and Fox Sports agreed to do, because of Indy 500 coverage, they wanted to put a clock on the Truck Series race. You and I talked about this during the Cross Flags podcast.
There was no, instead of starting the race at 10 a.m., there's no reason they couldn't have started that race at 9 a.m.
Well,
9 a.m. they would have finished the whole race.
And I'll be real blunt when I say this. There was no reason for them to put a clock on it. And the reason why I say that, and again, this is something that you and I covered during the Cross Flags podcast. You can go much more into it in depth if you haven't checked it out. Go on to Real Talk 99.5 TV. You can look it up there, or go on to CRN Live on YouTube. But I noticed this towards the end of the IndyCar race, for example. Scroll down to the bottom, which just about everybody does that now. And Fox was talking about the fact that they were going to go from Indy 500 coverage into a UFL game. I can't remember which one, and it really doesn't matter in the long run because that's not the point. The game kicked off. Didn't matter whether the Indy 500 was done or not. So what did Fox do? Said, UFL game between so-and-so and such has started over on Fox Sports 1. Your Truck Series race is on Fox Sports 1. Your IndyCar coverage is on Fox. Those who are watching the end of the Truck Series race, put a little scroll down at the bottom that says Indy 500 coverage has started on Fox. And those who want to go over and check out the pre-race ceremonies can.
That was arguably the most confusing thing I've ever seen done.
It really makes
made no
zero sense. It didn't help that the timer made the trucks treat things kind of like, well, a threat in a lot of ways, and it became something of a demolition derby, brought out several cautions. Ultimately, they only ran 110 of the scheduled 134 laps. The winner under caution was Lane Riggs, joined by the other Charlotte winners of the weekend and doing a Kyle Busch victory bow, which that was cool. Appreciate that. Riggs beat Caden Honeycutt to the line. Connor Zilic was third. And then you got Ben Rhodes, Gio Ruggiero, Christian Eckes, Brandon Jones, Tanner Gray, Moonlighter, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and William Swalich inside the top 10. We'd go points, but we're going to update those after last night's race, so hold on. Then we go to Indianapolis. Overcast Sunday, but despite the constant threat of rain, the race got in. Turned out to be a close one all day. Lead changed hands some 70 times, which is amazing when you stop and think about it. Nobody could pull away from anybody there.
No, and that's 70 times at the line.
Yeah, exactly. That's not counting how many times they did it going down the backstretch or going into a turn or whatever. Winner claims the win by an all-time Indy 500 slim margin, officially shown as 2:33.0233. That's 23 hundredths of a second over second place. But these guys are cooking. They're doing what, 200 miles per hour plus when they hit that start-finish line, which is about 2/3 of the way down the front stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And that means about 5 feet.
Yep.
That's moving, people.
It's short.
Winner who ran the final lap perfectly, made the late move at the right time, claims the win. He was Felix Rosenqvist, claims his first Indy 500 career win in his 8th attempt in the world-famous race. And, of course, that means somebody's on the short end of the stick, and that guy's David Malukas. And, whoa, did that emotion show on the pit wall afterward.
And then some.
Yeah. And who can blame him? You get that close to your series flagship ultimate crown jewel race. That close. And then you miss out.
Second year in a row, he was P2.
Okay, from the resident driver way of looking at things, was there anything he could have done short of blocking and wrecking them both?
Nope. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing, because it's, when Rosenqvist got clear of Marcus Armstrong, and when he dipped down and started pulling the slipstream, drafting off of him, you automatically knew there was a run coming.
Yeah.
It was just which way he was going to go. Malukas defended low, and Rosenqvist took the high side, and it worked.
It did. No doubt about it. Third place was Scott McLaughlin, then followed by Pato O'Ward, Marcus Armstrong, Renus VK, Alex Palou, who strangely enough gets a penalty. We'll talk about that later. Santino Ferrucci, Roman Grosjean, and Takuma Sato, the veteran, sitting in the top 10. Alex Palou leaves the Indy 500 with the points lead 273 to 236 over Malukas. Kyle Kirkwood's third, Christian Lundgaard's fourth. Pato O'Ward makes up the top 5. Then you got Dennis Hauger, who's extended his rookie points lead. It's now up to 111 to 76 over Kyle Collette. The rookie of the year for the Indy 500 was Mick Schumacher, but he sits third in the rookie points with 66. Honda leads Chevrolet in the engine manufacturer standings 594 to 525. Then we go up to Canada, and this is weird because I'm so used to Monaco, then Indy, then Charlotte, but now we go to Canada. for Formula One's Canadian Grand Prix. Mercedes youngster Kimi Antonelli, basically, for a young kid who's, 19?
Yep, 19.
This guy put on a lesson in domination.
Hey, he's pretty well done it for 4 weeks straight.
Yeah, he has. In this case, claims the pole, ends up with the win by a 10-plus second margin over 7-time champion Lewis Hamilton, who, by the way, had his best finish in a Ferrari to date. Then you got Max Verstappen third on a day where they largely missed out on the reins, too. Filling out the top 10, Charles Leclerc, who was the final driver on the lead lap. Think about that. Only 4 drivers finished on the lead lap out of 22.
That's insane.
Isaac Hajar was 5th, Franco Colapinto 6th, then Liam Lawson, Pierre Gasly, Carlos Sainz, and Ollie Behrman fills out the top 10. Antonelli out to a 110-88 lead over his teammate in Mercedes, George Russell. The Ferraris of Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton make 3rd and 4th. Lando Norris is in 5th. To the Manufacturers' Cup, where Mercedes has a 219-147-point lead on Ferrari. Your defending champion McLaren sits at 106. What changed with them from last year to this year? Or did everybody else just catch up?
Everybody else, I think, done their homework and they caught up.
Okay. So it's nothing that McLaren necessarily did. It might be what they didn't do.
True.
Which is work to stay ahead of that curve.
They might have got too comfortable.
Maybe so. So we'll see whether or not they can turn things around.
Yeah.
Red Bull, who used to be one of the major players, is 4th with about half of McLaren's points. Not quite, a little more than. Red Bull's got 57 of McLaren's 106. Racing Bulls has 35. Haas F1 up there with 19. You got Williams as 7. 2 for Audi. Cadillac and Aston Martin remain in the basement. 0 points to either team's credit. Although, according to both the drivers and their team principal, Cadillac seems to think that they're beginning to zero in on something that will help them get out of the cellar, or at least score a point or two here in the next few weeks, they say.
They need to show it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give them something here. They have been consistently able to not only start but finish the race, which is something that, don't discount that.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, when you think about Aston Martin and the troubles that they have had with their Honda engines, and their drivers have parked their cars on more than one occasion throughout the course of this year, to have the relative reliability that the Cadillac team has had does say something. Now they just got to find the performance wick and crank it up.
Yep. They got to figure it out. I mean, if you found something, show it.
Yeah.
Because you can, I mean, you got the capability with your 2 drivers to get points scored.
Yeah.
Figure it out with a car.
Yeah. Figure out what it is, find that performance, and go. And then finally, last week, back to Charlotte for the longest race of the year, which, like the first 2 by NASCAR, shortened by rain by 26 laps. When all was said and done in a race dominated by a Toyotas, it happened to be the Chevrolet of Daniel Suarez who was leading when the red flag was shown for the race, and the race got called. Daniel Suarez, once a teammate of Kyle Busch's at Joe Gibbs Racing, actually credited Busch with giving him some tips that helped him claim his first 600 win. In the end, he betters the Joe Gibbs Racing duo of Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin. Another Toyota in Tyler Reddick in 4th, Kyle Larson in 5th. Rest of your top 10, Ty Gibbs, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, William Byron, and Zane Smith. Reddick continues to lead the points. We thought the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series was bad. How about this? Reddick's up over Denny Hamlin by a pad of 620 to 498. Ow.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah, 122.
Yep, 122.
Ryan Blaney is 3rd. He is the standard bearer for the Ford camp.
Pretty much.
And that's, I hate to say this, if you're a Ford fan, you're not going to like what I'm about to say, but that's not a good thing.
No.
Because Ryan Blaney's trying to pull the whole of the blue oval, and it's a whole lot of weight.
It's a little more weight than he needs to be pulling.
I agree. Ty Gibbs, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Chris Buescher, Christopher Bell, Carson Hocevar, Daniel Suarez, Brad Keselowski, William Byron, Bubba Wallace, Shane Van Gisbergen is doing a nice job of being inside the top 16. Chase Briscoe's yo-yoed his way back into it, and Ryan Preece is 16th right now. He's 15 points up on Austin Cindric, holding down that final chase slot. All right, then.
There's going to be some more shifting towards that bottom, I feel.
Oh, yeah. And because as opposed to the top, the bottom is just ridiculously close.
Yeah, bottom, there's a lot of competition for the bottom, but the top is, in O'Reilly and Cup, has separated themselves amicably.
Yeah, I agree. Tell you what, let's go ahead and take our first break of the day here. When we come back, we'll talk about last night, because last night actually began this weekend slate of races. Welcome to Mother Nature again. She decided to intervene. What's the old saying? If you need rain in your area, schedule a NASCAR race. Welcome to the southeastern part of the country.
Yep.
They're in Nashville. So we'll talk about Nashville last night and the rest of the schedule for this weekend as we have just gotten underway here on CRN.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network.
Three 596-7233. That's 833-596-SAFE. Or visit his website at retirewithernest.com. David Ernest is your money man with a money plan. You can throw your retirement out the window or do the smart thing and call David Ernest. 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-SAFE.
I'm David Ernest, and I approve this message.
Fuel only. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
Hey, welcome back into the show. Appreciate you joining us on this Saturday morning, a rainy Saturday morning. I'm Steve West along with Matt Nicholson. The Johns, one on the board over here at Talk 99.5, the other one on CRN Live on YouTube. Appreciate them both. And, of course, you, 205-545-9950. You can text in on that text line. John Bird's going to monitor that. And, of course, you can call in as well about anything that we talk about or something of your own thinking, if you will. Last night, hosted music trivia out at Soloria Brewing Company down in Alabaster. Dozen teams came out and played. Afterward, karaoke. Had a lot of fun. The shirts that they had for sale on pre-sale, which technically is still going on today, that is going to benefit the VFW. They have $25 shirts with a great America 250th birthday design on it, $5 of which goes to the VFW chapter there. Those will be distributed out starting tomorrow on the 31st. So it's a great time to go out there. I would imagine they'll probably be open tomorrow. They say sometimes on Sunday, but when it comes to handing out the T-shirts, I would imagine they're going to be there. So be ready for that, and make sure you're checking out their social media for all kinds of great stuff. Just about every night out there, they've got something going on, either music trivia on Fridays, karaoke following it, regular trivia on Tuesday nights. They do concerts. They've got acts that come in from time to time. They were telling me later on in the month of June, if you feel like you are a sci-fi movie buff, they're going to have a night of sci-fi movie trivia. So it's all kinds of great stuff going on out there. Plus, you got the great selection of craft-made beers. Plus, they got some wines. They got some hard ciders as well. Siluria Brewing Company. Make sure you check them out. 145 First Avenue West in Alabaster. Danny and everybody out there, we appreciate them being such great supporters of us here at CRN. So last night actually got the racing for the weekend started. Craftsman Truck Series running the Allegiance 200 at Nashville Superspeedway, other than Mother Nature getting involved. Matt, how did that go?
Well, until the wee hours of this morning when it got completed.
Finally.
It was actually not a very action-filled race from demolition derby style standpoint.
Okay.
There was only 6 trucks that did not finish the race due to accident. Only 3 leaders through the whole race.
Wow.
Your only 3 leaders were Ross Chastain, Raja Carruth, and Lane Riggs. But taking the win on a last lap pass was Lane Riggs going back-to-back. Raja Carruth that got into the 7th truck because this was a race that Kyle Busch was scheduled to be driving. Was P2. Chandler Smith 3rd, Ross Chastain 4th, Tyler Ankrum with the top 5, Stuart Friesen 6th, Grant Enfinger 7th, Christian Eckes 8th, Gio Ruggiero 9th, and Daniel Dye back in the truck series for McAnally Hilgeman brought in top 10, bullet pointing throughout the field. You had Parker Retzloff making a start for Halmar Friesen in a Toyota with help from Legacy Motor Club that finished 11th. Ty Majeski was 12th, Brandon Jones 13th, Corey LaJoy was 22nd, Caden Honeycutt 27th, Ben Rhodes 28th, and Justin Haley was 31st. Jesse Love got into the 77 Spire truck and was 34th.
Okay. Lane Riggs holds your points lead. It's relatively close. It's by far the closest of any of the top 3 NASCAR series. Lane Riggs over Caden Honeycutt, 458 to 421. Caden Honeycutt having a bad day last night did not help. Christian Eckes was 3rd, Chandler Smith 4th, Gio Ruggiero 5th. Ty Majeski, Ben Rhodes, Tyler Ankrum, Stuart Friesen, Daniel Hemrick round out the top 10. Hemrick leading Jake Garcia for the final chase slot by a slim 6 points. Tonight, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series running at Nashville Superspeedway. Race is called the Sports Illustrated Resorts 250. We got one of those that just broke ground over near Tuscaloosa, and apparently they are growing bigger and gotten big enough to the point where they're title sponsor of an O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race.
It's growing pretty quick.
They're airing on the CW and PRN radio 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Sunday's racing, IndyCar running for the 2nd weekend in a row. They're up in Detroit. This will be the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix, 1.65 mile long, 9-turn street course, which will feature the GM Heritage Center in the background, which is why it is being title sponsored by Chevrolet. Coverage begins 12:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Central Time on Fox and IRN Radio. NHRA is in Mechanicsville, Maryland. They're going to run the Potomac NHRA Nationals presented by Jegs. Finals will begin in real time, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central Time. Fox will pick up on the coverage, airing them after they get done with IndyCar, or starting at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central Time, whichever comes first. And then finally, the Cup Series wrapping up the weekend. Cracker Barrel 400 from Nashville Superspeedway. Amazon Prime with all the visuals, the audio side covered by PRN Radio. Sunday evening race on a non-holiday weekend. The 2nd year in a row they've done that at Nashville.
All of the races, I think, except for 1, maybe 2, that Nashville has ran for Cup has been night.
Mm-hmm. Sunday night, though.
It's on Sunday night, yeah.
7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time. Formula One, Formula E, the IHRA, all off this weekend. All right, let's get into the news here. We're going to start off with the Indy 500 because arguably, not the longest, but the biggest race of last weekend was the Indy 500. How much is it now when you win? There was a time, not all that long ago, when there were drivers that were questioning this because, unfortunately, under the old Holman George authorship, if you will, ownership of the organization, they were, I don't know, we want to just go out and flat out say it?
Cheap.
Bingo. They were cheap. You could win maybe $1 million and $1.5 million. And I get it. For us, $1 million, $1.5 million is nothing necessarily to sneeze at. But when you look at other crown jewel races and you look at the purse payout for the winner, that's kind of chintzy.
Yeah.
Look at what Penske's done since they bought it, took it over. The year of COVID, yes, 2020. This purse has gone up significantly. The overall purse for the race, just under $31 million. Of that, Felix Rosenquist, your winner in Meyer-Shank Racing's organization, for the win, raked in a record $4.34 million. That's up $500,000 from last year. Now it's becoming to the point where you understand how much this race means to the grand scheme of things and to IndyCar.
Now you probably understand why David Malukas was in tears on pit road.
Yeah. Wow.
Because it was nearly a what I saw, it was nearly a $3 million split between first and second.
Yeah. What he walked away for second place used to be what the winner got about, what, a decade ago?
Yeah,
maybe
right around the neighborhood of $1.5 million.
Maybe not even a decade ago. Maybe even sooner than that, or more recent than that. On the other side of that, we mentioned the fact that there was a penalty handed out to the four-time champion, Alex Palou, who did get a top 10, but he wasn't able to claim the win, even though he did get the pole for the Indy 500. Alex Palou's 10 car, IndyCar officials levied a points penalty against him after determining that the front wing of the racer failed minimum height measurements. Now, according to IndyCar Rules 14.7.6, along with some subsections thereof, and I could go way deep into that, but I'm not gonna, states that the front wing must not measure less than 8.3 inches when set to any given angle. The penalty, 5 championship driver and team owner points, along with a $10,000 fine levied when it was determined that it was an assembly error as opposed to some sort of an intentional modification by the Chip Ganassi racing team. How in the world do you get an assembly error that causes the front wing to measure less than 8.3 inches? I would like an explanation on that.
To try to figure that out, and this is how I'm going to word it, to try to figure out what they're talking about, I would have to look at a diagram of what the rule intent is and how they do the measurement points.
Yeah, it would be curious.
Yeah.
Either way, the penalty stands. Chip Ganassi Racing has said, at least last I heard, that they were not going to appeal it. Not sure how you can. It seems...
With it being determined to be an assembly error, you can appeal it.
Yeah, so there you go. 2026 Indy 500 Rookie of the Year was named as Michael Schumacher. We hinted to that during the recap. He gets a $50,000 bonus on top of his regular purse for his 18th place finish. Bested his other 2 race rookies. Dennis Hauger finished 19th. Jacob Abel comes in 24th. Of course, that was kind of a one-off. He's not a regular guy. And Kyle Collette, who after even leading some laps, ended up getting into a late race crash. So he's credited with the 26th place result. For Mick Schumacher, there was something that he was needing to maybe give him a boost of confidence. Something like this maybe help that situation?
I think it helps.
Okay.
Not going to say it rectifies it, but I think it helps it some.
What do they need? What does he need? What do they need?
Hey, I think he needs an improvement in the car performance overall.
So it's really not him, it's the car.
I think it's more car because when you look, Louis Foster and Graham Rahal are not exactly lighting the world on fire either.
Also true. Okay.
So, I mean, Rahal's had a podium at Barber And I think he had another podium somewhere else. But other than that, he really hasn't been on the radar.
That's true. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on him. Then there's Catherine Legg. Catherine Legg, first woman to attempt the double. And if you are relatively new to the situation, the double is this. It's running the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 on the same day. And we've had a handful of men try it over the course of time. None have won either race whenever they've done it. We did have one driver one time who finished on the lead lap in both races. And when he got out, he was realizing that he needed to do a little bit better job of taking care of himself over the course of the two races. And that was Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart ran all, 400 and 200, 600 laps and 1,100 miles. But he said the last 100 miles of the Coca-Cola 600, the first time that he tried it, that bottom line that separates the banking from the apron, he said it looked to him like about 4 feet wide.
Probably.
Because he was starting to run out of the energy. He hadn't hydrated properly. He hadn't made sure that he had, something in his stomach, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was on his first attempt.
I think that same thing happened to Robbie Gordon one time. He did it too.
So the second time that he did it, he finished in the top 10 both times, but ended up being a lap down in at least one of them. He had hydrated better and said that, he was feeling much better once he got out of the car after the Coca-Cola 600. This is not an easy thing to do because we've kind of detailed this. You get out there, you run the 200 laps of the Indy 500, you get on a helicopter, go to the airport, get on a plane, fly from Indianapolis to Concord, North Carolina, get on a helicopter in Concord, North Carolina, fly into the track, get into the car. And in Tony Stewart's case, the first time at least, and I want to say just about every other time, the driver has cut it so close they missed the driver's meeting, which meant they had to start at the back of the field.
Mm-hmm.
So not only are you coming up on a 400-lap race, you got to fight 40-ish other cars, depending on what year and how many entries there are.
Yep. Yeah, all depending on those circumstances right there, and that's what makes it tougher.
It is not an easy thing to do. So anybody who tries it automatically has my respect and my prayers. She tried it, did not go as she hoped. We kind of talked about it. We thought actually her better car probably was going to be the HMD Motorsports with AJ Foyt racing car in the Indy 500. But she didn't make it very far. She made it to lap number 17 when she tried to take evasive action to avoid the spinning car of Ryan Hunter-Reay, but she missed it, slammed the inside wall. Her race was over at that point in time. So she was able to leave Indy early in plenty of time, made it to Charlotte for the Coca-Cola 600. Her day there ended prematurely as well, driving there for Live Fast Motorsports.
Yep.
Right after the start of the third stage, she slowed down, and then once she got onto the apron, her right front wheel pops off the car. Team checks the car, did some work to it, did get her back out, but she finishes 12 laps down, so nowhere near coming close to where Tony Stewart was. But then again, we didn't figure she would. Even without that tire coming off, she was at that point in time, starting the third stage, she was multiple laps down.
I think it was 7 or 8 laps down already.
Yeah, so, all due credit to Catherine Legg. Unfortunately, her car in the Cup Series race let her down, and something that was well beyond her control let her down in the IndyCar race.
Yeah, I mean, she was trying to save herself from T-boning Ron Hunter-Reay, because if she had of, she would have probably launched from Indianapolis up to Fishers.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do.
You do. All right, so TV ratings from last weekend. There are a lot of people that question this, not the least of which was Kenny Wallace. Kenny Wallace is like, why is everybody suddenly in on the Indy 500? It's the Indy 500.
Yeah. I mean, why would you ask that question?
It's the Indy 500. We're going to watch.
Come on, Herm.
Yeah.
You know better.
Wake up, dude. Dominated the ratings overall. According to reports, race brought in an average of 6.64 million viewers over the course of the race. That is down from last year, about 6.4%, when the Indy 500 drew more viewers actually than the Daytona 500. Switched back this season, NASCAR's premier race, pulling in more viewers than IndyCar's biggest race of the year. That's the way it usually is. But if you get like a rain delay situation like we had in 2025, That certainly hurts the viewership of the Daytona 500. Now both of the races got on as scheduled. So, yeah, head-to-head, Daytona 500 will generally get more viewers than the Indy 500. But both of them are the premier races in the United States of America. It's not surprising at all that they get that kind of ratings. Coca-Cola 600 on Amazon Prime, likely helped by the passing of Kyle Busch. Viewership of the race was up from the 2025 edition of the race. They averaged 3.06 million people. Bested most of the races on Fox Sports 1 this year. 12% up from the 2025 Coca-Cola 600, also on Amazon Prime. But even more notably, the pre- and post-race shows, all-time highs for Amazon Prime. Both the pre- and the post-race show averaged well over 1 million viewers each. Post-race show got close to 1.5 million.
That's where their post-race show and pre-race show, that's where Amazon Prime is separating themselves from everybody else by far.
Yeah. There are negatives for this being on Amazon Prime. We get it. There are people who just will not subscribe to Amazon Prime. That's your choice. Do me a favor. If you choose not to get Amazon Prime, stop complaining about it on social networks, social media networks. That's your choice.
True. That is true.
I have said here, and I'm not complaining about it, I've said it's my choice not to subscribe to Fox Sports because I've got several other subscriptions and I just don't have room for another one. My choice. That means if I miss out on a race, Truck Series or Cup Series when it's there, that's on me. It's not on Fox. It's not on NASCAR. It's on me. If you choose not to subscribe to Amazon Prime, that's on you, not on NASCAR. You want to complain about them being greedy? As I have said before, tell me you don't know how to run a business without necessarily telling me you don't know how to run a business.
Yep.
Somebody comes to you and says, hey, we'll take a 5-race slate and here's this big check. You're going to take it too. If you're NASCAR or IndyCar or whoever. That's your choice. People will find it. And here's the other part about it. The average age of the viewer drops by more than half a decade on Amazon Prime as opposed to Fox or NBC.
True.
And that's
true.
where the rubber hits the road, because you want to know where the future drivers are. You look down at the lower levels. You want to know where the future fans are. You got to start looking at the younger crowd. And Amazon Prime brings in a younger crowd.
Yep, they do.
So there are benefits to it.
They do.
All right, John Bird, let's go ahead and take this break here. When we come back, we will switch, since we kind of made that bridge there, talking about the TV ratings of both IndyCar and Cup. We'll get into Cup Series coverage. Ryan Preece had his appeal heard this week. 2311 is down a team member for doing something, well, let's just call it galactically stupid. That and so much more as CRN rolls on. We're not even halfway through the show yet. Phone lines, text lines are open, 545-9950.
4 tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back into the show. Steve West and Matt Nicholson. Appreciate you joining us here as we get back into the swing of things here and get into the news of the Cup Series here, where Ryan Preece got a penalty for wrecking Ty Gibbs, I guess, at Texas earlier this month. National Motorsports Appeals Panel heard both sides of the argument Wednesday and decided to uphold the penalty levied against Ryan Preece. That means his $50,000 fine and his 25 championship point penalty is going to have to be paid. 3-person panel, which, by the way, included former Cup Series driver Lake Speed, released a statement that said in part afterward, quote, although not a unanimous decision, NASCAR and RFK presented competing interpretations of the common data. Neither side clearly proved their point. Mr. Preece's comments show that he chose not to cut his competitor any breaks. That's where you got to be careful what you say on the radio.
Yeah, might want to just start learning to keep your mouth shut and take your actions in your hands.
Well, and what he said, I've heard many a driver say after feeling like they've been wronged by one driver or another on the track, say, oh, I'm done with this guy.
Oh, yeah. I've said it under the visor quite a few times myself.
Yeah. And then you turn around and you go and you bump, knock, whatever, Ty Gibbs out of the way. Sorry, it's going to look bad.
And then some.
Yeah, it's going to look bad. On the other hand, you could be like Denny Hamlin, who got away with it seemingly, and then gets on his podcast, Actions Detrimental, and says, yeah, I intentionally knocked his butt out of the way. Dude, nobody was going to say anything until you put it out in your podcast.
Truth. These
things right here, and cameras like this, if you're watching on either Real Talk 99.5 or CRN Live on YouTube, they're monitored. They hear, they see, they know. Be careful what you say.
Mm-hmm.
Act like a microphone is always open.
Yeah.
That's the biggest key.
Yep.
As we've said, phone lines are open at 545-9950. That's also where the text line comes in. John Bird, you say we got a text?
Yes, we've got a text from Tim Franklin, and he wants to know, he says, do you know why Alabama International Dragway doesn't host that many large races?
Go ahead.
I'm going to say the reason that they don't host much large races, they used to in the past, but anymore, they don't host many large races because of the facility.
Okay.
Facility size. Because now more these larger races draw so much larger car counts.
Oh, yeah.
And larger crowds overall.
Yeah. Fan base.
Fan base. The facility, it's good, but for the size of events in nowadays, it's not quite large enough.
Yeah. When you think about it, IHRA said that they were going to come to Montgomery a few weeks ago. Obviously, you had that shooting on the grounds. But find some pictures, for example, of what Montgomery Dragway looks like versus Alabama Dragway. You'll see a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, Montgomery's just a tad bigger.
Yeah. So and that makes a difference. Now, it's not to say that they couldn't in the near future if they did just a small upgrade.
Well, if the right ownership gets their hands on it,
sure,
and upgrades it,
yeah,
it could easily be done.
do it. Yeah. NHRA, for whatever reason, the NHRA has long ignored the state of Alabama. IHRA is at least looking at Alabama and saying, hey, we're going to put some of our sanctioned events, in the case of the Nitro, Top Fuel, and Funny Car stuff, going to Montgomery. But they also have done some stuff up at Rocket City in some lesser divisions. I think they wanted to do
Rocket City, Holiday Dragway.
Were they going to do something at Steel? No.
Like last year, they had the Sportsman and Pro Mod World Finals at Steel.
There you go.
It was on Talladega Race Weekend.
Yeah.
But it's Rocket City, Holiday Dragway, I-22 Motorsports Park, Montgomery, Steel, and there's another one, I think, towards Mobile that is IHRA sanctioned.
Okay.
So
we'll get there. We'll get there. It's coming. It's going to take a little bit of time, and it's going to take us. And this goes for any race at any location for any particular sanctioning body. It's going to take the people showing up, because they'll hold a race there, but if nobody comes, they're not going to come back.
See, here's the one thing about IHRA, that they're doing the promotion of the events. They're getting the events broadcasted through Speed Sport TV.
Yeah. They don't have a major television deal, but
They're,
if they keep this up, that may be coming.
They're increasing their facility sizes. Topeka, Maple Grove, places like that.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that is staring, just blatantly stands out so clearly. The crowds in the stands are bare.
Yeah.
Very, very, very bare.
Got to show up.
And to whoever the whack job in Montgomery that did what they did that cost Montgomery the race, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I had this feeling that Montgomery was going to have arguably the largest crowd IHRA has seen in 2 seasons.
There was a lot of buzz about it.
A ton of buzz.
There really was. So yeah, it's really, it is a shame. But again, got to show up, got to be there, because if you're not going to show up, they're not going to come back. NASCAR's doing the same thing at Rockingham. This is the second year in a row this year. Earlier on, when they did just O'Reilly Auto Parts and Trucks last year, same thing. It was called Xfinity, but it doesn't matter. They're looking at the crowds very, very carefully over this short run of just getting the trucks in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series there. And if the people keep showing up, they may get a Cup Series race back. But they have to continue to prove it.
Yeah.
North Wilkesboro, the same thing. Dover right now, we're looking at Dover and wondering what's going on. Racing there probably was, the on-track action was probably the best I've seen in a long time for the All-Star race. The problem was butts in the stands weren't there.
It was a little on the bare side.
And if you want to keep a race at a good track or get racing to come to a good track, gotta show up.
Yeah, you got to. If NHRA can go to, when you look at diagrams of it, if NHRA can go to by technicality, a smaller facility at South Georgia in Adele.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And turned out big time.
Just sell out all 3 days.
Yeah.
Montgomery can easily handle one.
Absolutely.
There's no question.
Absolutely. One more note here before we get to the top of the hour, and this is
crazy.
That's a good way to put it. I like that. NASCAR has taken the step of indefinitely suspending a member of the 2311 racing team. And this is nobody that you would know unless you worked for them. I'll be real honest. But reports are that a woman used a 2311 golf cart, ran into a man at Charlotte Motor Speedway last weekend.
How did you do that?
I don't know. 2311 racing employee identified as Ivana Deneen Howell is accused of assault on 77-year-old Dennis Manchester using a golf cart Saturday in the infield of the track. I don't have full details. We're waiting on those to come out. But court records quote the judge, Matthew Black, stating that he found probable cause that Howell, quote, unlawfully, willfully, and feloniously did assault Dennis Manchester with golf cart used to assault the victim, deadly weapon, inflicting serious injury. Unquote. She's currently out on $125,000 bond. Neither she nor anybody at 2311 Racing are commenting. Now, you and I have been in several infields, including the infield at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's busy. There's a lot of people milling about, roaming around.
Yeah, there are.
And there are some people that get on golf carts, whoever it's assigned to, NASCAR, PRN, MRN, a race team, whatever, Fox, Amazon Prime, whoever. And they need to get from point A to point B in a hurry, and they're not necessarily paying close attention to exactly who might or might not be in their way.
Unfortunately, we have seen that. But you have
But the wording that judge gave, that sounds like it was intentional.
That's very, very questionable.
I mean, were they jaw-jacking at each other?
Unless that was the case, I don't know how you can willfully go, oh, I'm going to hit that guy right there. I'm going to floor it. I'm going to hit him and run over him and get him out of the way.
Unless something was said.
Something had to be said.
That's all I can think of. We'll keep an eye on it. Let you know. Appreciate you checking us out. Hour number 1 in the books. Hour number 2 coming up. Still plenty to get to. And that includes your calls and your texts. Again, 205-545-9950. Phone calls, phone lines are open, and the text line is open as well. We'll be happy to take any questions or comments and see what you got on your mind in the racing world. Hour number 2 coming up right after we take this break.
Love Talk 99.5? Got the drive to help local business grow? Cumulus Media wants you. We're looking for high-energy, motivated professionals to sell radio, digital, and podcast advertising. With top-tier training, best-in-class market solutions, and a dynamic team, your success is just a call or a click away. Be part of our movement and make an impact in your community. Apply now at cumulusmedia.com. That's cumulusmedia.com. Cumulus Media is an equal opportunity employer.
WZRR Birmingham, Talk 99.5, and Talk995.com.
Championship Racing Network.
Welcome in as we get started with hour number 2 here on CRN. Appreciate you joining us here on this Saturday morning. Final one in the month of May. Busy month of May, no doubt about it. we're talking a little Cup Series news, but obviously we can talk about whatever you want. Matter of fact, we got a text right there towards the end of hour number 1 asking about drag racing at a local facility here in the state of Alabama. And really, it does help to get butts in the seats. Got to have the infrastructure there as well. And, hopefully that'll work in the long run. And we'll talk a little more drag racing coming up here in a minute. First things first, a couple of more notes from the Cup Series here, where Casey Mears said at the beginning of the year he wanted to get to that magic number of 500 Cup Series starts for his career. Beard Motorsports was happy to help, and it looked like things were going to go just fine as Beard Motorsports and Casey Mears came up with a deal that was going to get him, when he started the race at Homestead, Miami for championship weekend, to get his 500th career Cup Series start. And then rains washed away qualifying at Talladega, where 41 cars had entered, and based upon the dynamics of the way that the system works that Cup Series uses to figure out who stays and who goes, Beard Motorsports had to go home. So he was a man without a starting slot, and that left him one short of his goal, presuming he could even make the other planned starts with Beard Motorsports in the number 62 Chevrolet. Now, a lot of that has to do with how many entries there are for any given particular race. It just seemed kind of this confluence of events that even you and I didn't foresee. We've seen 40 cars start. Generally, it's 38, 39 at Talladega.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter whether it's the spring or the fall race. For us to get 41 cars interested in entering was kind of an eye-opener for us.
Yeah. I mean, because you don't see nowadays you don't see over 40 car entry lists.
Not really, except for the Daytona 500. And even then, that can be questioned.
You may see it in Indianapolis.
Maybe, yeah.
But you may see it at Daytona summer race.
More likely the 500, though.
But, yeah, more than likely 500. I mean, it's Daytona summer race, 38, 39 maybe.
Yeah. So when that happened, it was a shock. So what Beard has decided to do, they want to make sure he gets to that number 500. They've added that they're going to take the car to Pocono for June 14th. The Great American Getaway 400 race is going to put Mears back on track to make his 500th career Cup start with that start at Homestead, Miami. Hopefully that'll work out for him because, here's the thing. I don't know as Beard Motorsports is necessarily going to give him a car that's going to compete for a win, but he's going to get a solid car that, you and I both said this, if qualifying had gone on at Talladega, in all likelihood, Casey Mears would have been starting and somebody else would have gone home.
Oh, there's no question.
So they put out good cars, not necessarily winning cars, but they put out good cars. And a couple of weeks ago, we noted RFK Racing is actively seeking to purchase a third Cup Series charter to cover the number 60, driven by Ryan Preece. They've been leasing a charter from Rick Ware Racing over the last couple of years, but that charter is due to be sold to Legacy MC at the end of this year. At this time, no other team seems to be offering up a charter, which, even if they did, nowadays, with the charter being permanent, some people are talking about how this thing now could be worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 million. And that number's only going to go up.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely going to go up.
So the question was asked this week of RFK President Chip Bowers. Jeff Gluck asked this on a podcast he did for The Athletic. What if you can't get a charter to assign to the number 60 car? Bauer said that they're committed to putting 3 cars on the track in 2027. Either way, quote, we're not going to go backward as an organization. We will run 3 cars. That's unequivocally our focus moving forward.
They'll still be able to make money. They'll still be able to make money with being an open car.
You and I talked about this a little bit last year because of this whole situation with the lawsuit. Front Row Motorsports 2311, and there were Stewart Haas Racing charters that were up for grabs and all that kind of stuff. There is a drop down in the amount of guaranteed money, I think, if you are an open car, but you still get paid.
Yeah, it's just the guaranteed purse money that's a change, but
yeah,
you still get.
Now that's not insignificant money.
Yeah.
When you're talking racing, every cent counts.
Yeah,
but at the same point in time, it can be done.
It can.
Okay, all right. Real quick, want to thank the fine folks at Cat and Bird Winery. Open today, noon to 6 as regular time. I don't know of anything special going on today, but today, rainy day, kind of dreary. Looking for something to do. Don't have to go very far. They've got a pavilion downstairs, so you're out of the rain. You can be inside. Great people down there. I'm going to be going out there a little bit later on, maybe about 1, 2 o'clock or so. I'll be out there as well, just having a good time. Cat and Bird Winery always got something going on, including this Thursday night, first Thursday of the month. It's trivia night, music trivia. Yeah, I know. I was talking about that last hour with Siluria Brewing Company. Every Friday night out there. First Thursday of every month, Cat and Bird Trivia, hosting music trivia. I'll be your host for that, 7 o'clock. It's summertime. Kids are out of school. Come on out. Have a good time. Thursday night, need to unwind. Get ready for Friday. It's the perfect opportunity.
Yep.
All right, let's switch our attention here to the O'Reilly Auto Parts series where race control for NASCAR came under some scrutiny. So we got to talking last about this and how rain affected every single race of the Charlotte Motor Speedway weekend. Truck Series race was supposed to run on Friday, got rained out. Supposed to run on Saturday night after the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race got rained out. And then Sunday finally got in, but that got shortened even, not even due to rain. O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race gets shortened due to rain. And, Jesse Love was not happy. Criticized NASCAR race control as to how they made that race official. Now, during the recap, we noted Ross Chastain got into a spot of oil. Several other cars did. Brought out a caution in order to clean it up. But fog had moved in. Rain started falling. What NASCAR did was they just continued to let the car circle under yellow flag until they completed the second stage, making it to lap 90. Technically not halfway, but they state end of stage 2 or halfway, whichever comes first, race can become official. And the race did. Love and his teammate Austin Hill ended up finishing second and third behind moonlighter Ross Chastain. Love said after the fact to the media, I'm waiting for them to throw some sort of a fine at him for bitching, moaning, and complaining about NASCAR officiating. But we haven't heard anything yet. Love said, quote, I'm mad. So I think it's a complete joke, handling it how they handled it. I was really mad when I got out of the car for obvious reasons. Then I kind of realized, if this week has taught us anything, it's that all this doesn't matter as much as we think it does. There's things way more important than a trophy. So as much as I'm angry and confused and upset, I also, again, realize there's a lot of hurt people right now. This week has taught us that there's so many things so much bigger than racing. I think as much as it hurts, we can find some okayness, there's a good word, okayness in knowing that. I'm just feeling so hard for Brexton, Lennox, and Samantha, the parents, everybody at RCR. That's where the hurt and the anger comes from. Wanting to win for those people. Having said all that, really doesn't matter, does it?
He's got a point. He's got a point, but as quick as that fog set in, and you had so many spotters that were up top that were very vocal about sight lines
and having a hard time seeing.
Yeah, the car should have been stopped. But
yeah,
the excuse of the excuse of the deal with, and it still blows my mind because I know how that they, what's the word I'm looking for here? I know how they place track spotters around the racetrack in certain areas and certain zones. Mm-hmm. It could be if I'm the race director, I can have, all right, Steve's got the entry of turn 1 to the middle of turn 1.
Okay.
All right. I could have John Bird's got from the middle of turn 1 and 2 through the exit of turn 2, halfway down the backstretch. But he's going to have to be positioned outside of the track because he wouldn't be able to see it inside of the track.
Right.
Then it could be John Myers could be halfway down the back into turn 3 and 4. And then somebody that may be in the tower, or I don't know, let's pick another person. I don't know. Richard Childress could have turn 3 and 4. The middle of turn 3 all the way turn 4 down to the start finish line. You've got those certain zones. And how in the world that a track spotter can't realize the 35 car blew an oil line going into turn 1, oiled the racetrack down, but it wasn't called down. It wasn't called up.
Yeah.
How?
Somebody missed something somewhere.
Somebody probably wasn't paying attention, or they dozed off and went to sleep or something.
That could be.
Because how do you miss it? You can't, fog, I couldn't see it. No, your eyes are literally within 50 to 100 feet of the track. You can see when a smoke trail or fluid is coming out from underneath the car. Let's call it 101. 101 to Tower. Hey, we've got a 35 car oiled the racetrack down. We got oil all over the racetrack. Put it out.
Yeah.
Put it out. That's some things are becoming inexcusable.
Agreed. Too many things are getting missed. The Truck Series, he mentioned it during the recap. Daniel Dye finished 10th last night. Daniel Dye is the same guy who got suspended by NASCAR earlier this year for comments he made in a podcast, kind of deriding IndyCar driver David Malukas, then left his full-time ride at Cowlick Racing in the Truck Series even after NASCAR reinstated him. He just said, yeah, I'm out. Well, he's back. Ultimately, he's going to get 4 chances to prove himself in the Truck Series again this year, all of them courtesy of McAnally Hilgeman Racing. McAnally Hilgeman put Dye in their number 20 Chevrolet Silverado for last night's race at Nashville, I should say. Again, finished 10th. He'll be back in the truck again at Michigan, then at Kansas, and his quartet races slated to wrap up at Charlotte in the fall. Sponsorship in those races coming from Champion Container and the Race to Stop Suicide.
I'm going to say this. Shame on NASCAR yesterday for doing the Truck Series stuff the way that they did it, for getting the trucks in the field to start the race, because that 20 truck should not have been in the race last night.
Okay.
Because 20 truck has only got one start, one attempt, and that was Tony Brodinger at Watkins Glen. She missed the race.
True.
All right. You put Daniel Dye in the truck. 20 truck is lower than the 27 truck in owner's points, because if you don't complete qualifying, you're supposed to revert back to the metric system and owner points. Well, they decided they was going to base it off qualifying time. Practice speeds. So the 27 truck got rooked out of making the race. If I'm Curtis Sutton, I'm going to be screaming at the top of my lungs.
Complaining loudly.
Because that doesn't make any sense. Because apparently, Daniel Dye is the boy of NASCAR or something. Because Michael Waltrip, it makes me sick how much he raves and drools. And Jamie Little does the same thing too. When Daniel Dye's in the field, if he was a licensed driver, and this is me, if I'm the truck owner and I've got a licensed driver that I can pick over Daniel Dye, I'm taking that licensed driver over Daniel Dye.
Well, all right. I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a moment, because for the most part, I got to say I agree with you, because here's the devil's advocate part. The one thing that we know Daniel Dye can do is he can finish a race with keeping the truck intact as a general rule. We have seen that.
Yeah.
So there's the devil's advocate part. Here's the part that I got a problem with. What has Daniel Dye done? What's his resume?
He's won one ARCA race at Berlin, Michigan.
So that brings the question back up again. What has he done? What's his resume?
No, nothing. Nothing. He does nothing but bring a check.
Okay.
Nothing but bring a check. And the last person that needs a check to be able to get a truck in the field is Bill McAnally.
Yeah, exactly. They're fine. I get it. You bring a check, sure, you're going to get a ride, and you'll probably finish the race, and in his case, he finished in the top 10. But when you look at some of the people who have busted their butts, and then you look at Daniel Dye, and you wonder how many more chances is this guy going to get versus other people who have gotten one chance, did not get a good truck, good car, whatever it was, never got another chance. So what's the difference? Is it just the check?
Yeah, it's just a check.
Literally, it's just the check that makes the difference in the fact that he's getting so many chances.
Well, the way the business model is now, the way they've got it all set up and the way they do it, everybody is so check dependent. if you can pass a simple orientation test, you can get licensed and you bring a check. I could, if I hadn't have had a recent surgery, I could probably be in a cup car tomorrow at Nashville.
Yeah, because if you can buy it.
Because you tell me, other than the check that B.J. McLeod, I'm sure would gladly took. I know he gladly took it.
Sure.
What has Daniel Dye done to deserve a cup ride?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You start out in arguably, hands down, the best scenario. Granted, they haven't shown what they need to show so far.
Not yet.
They're the whole organization is struggling and they're behind the 8 ball trying to find speed.
Yeah.
But you've got a fully funded program with Dodge and Ram.
Mm-hmm.
You got to see.
Racing, yeah.
You go make a backhanded, ridiculous comment about David Malukas, which I still don't understand.
Yeah. Why are you even talking about him?
Why are you talking about an IndyCar driver? Period.
Yeah. Why are you talking about any other driver?
You make a backhanded comment, you get suspended. Oh, NASCAR's going to reinstate you, but bravo to Matt Calling and Chris Rice. No, you're not going to represent our organization like that by making backhanded, ridiculous comments about if there's a key word here, if somebody lives an alternate lifestyle or not.
Yeah.
And if they do, that's their business.
Sure.
But I would put David Malukas in a truck before I put Daniel Dye in a truck.
Well, and okay, so the other side of the, let's pull Daniel Dye out of it and let's just talk about drivers that bring a check.
Yeah.
And I'll put another name in there other than Daniel Dye. Her name is Natalie Decker. I mean, I'm sorry, folks, but she is not, by any stretch of the imagination, the most talented female driver at the top ranks of NASCAR.
I'm going to spin off of that right there. And this may take me a minute before we go to our next
We're
break.
fine. We got time.
Based off of that radio transmission alone that came through at Watkins Glen.
Yeah.
Out of that truck race.
That girl had if you did not hear it, that girl had an absolute meltdown.
Had a nervous, mental anxiety, whatever you want to call it, breakdown behind the wheel of a race vehicle.
Yeah.
That cannot happen because that will basically says you're a loose cannon. Because you have a breakdown like that, and one of the first things that come out of your mouth, oh, people online are going to do that. You have no business behind the wheel of a race vehicle. Because here's where I'm going to spin that off of.
Go for it.
When your husband gets behind the wheel of same said truck at Nashville last night and finishes on the lead lap, you have no business.
Yeah. And
sorry.
The whole thing with her started off with her making a mistake of getting out of line before the start-finish line. And, of course, NASCAR is going to throw a penalty on it because it is a penalty. And then she acts like NASCAR's picking on her. No, they're not. You made a mistake by getting out of line, and you got upset, and you compounded it by serving the penalty by doing a pass-through on pit road. What did you do on pit road? You sped. Penalty number 2. It just starts to multiply. These are things that you, as a professional driver, know are penalties. You brought this on yourself. But you bring a check. And I get it. NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, all of these different series talk about wanting to, where's the next successful female? NHRA's loaded with them. IHRA's getting them. But where's the next successful female at the top levels of NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, Formula E, whatever other series you want to talk about? They're struggling. The ones that are there On the lower levels, a Tony Breidinger, to a lesser extent, a Haley Deegan. They're there because they have a certain amount of talent, but they have a check that comes with it. Natalie Decker should be at the level, truth be told in my mind, of where Haley Deegan is. Haley Deegan is running ARCA. She's reproving herself.
I would not put Natalie Decker in a late model.
I get that, but if you're going to put her at the top levels here, put her back in ARCA, let her reprove herself like Haley Deegan is doing.
And Haley Deegan is, so far in the ARCA West, is admirably proving herself and replanting herself.
Yeah.
She's third in points right now.
Tony Breidinger, not spectacular by any stretch of the imagination, but she's solid.
Tony Breidinger's got the ability. She, personally, as much funding as she has behind her, as much as she's got behind her, if I'm a solid ARCA team, let's say PRG, because she's with Chevrolet, she's with PRG.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm PRG, I'll pull her back. Like, hey, we're going to run the full ARCA season. We're going to rehone your craft and get you back climbing up.
Yeah.
You're still behind the wheel of something. There's no shame in going like, hey, I'm going to take a step back to ARCA, rehome my talent, and reestablish myself.
But you're full-time.
As
opposed to being part-time in the truck series. I get it. Everybody wants to climb the ladder. Everybody wants to be at the top. But it takes time, it takes talent, it takes money. And you got to have all three of those come together to be able to get to the Cup Series or the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series for that matter. And I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it in Natalie Decker. I see more talent in Tony Breidinger. I see more talent in Haley Deegan.
There's one we're missing right here that's got more talent than probably all of them put together.
And by all means.
But she is taking it step by step. And I think Toyota dropped the ball with letting her get out from under there, and Chevrolet picked her up. Taylor Reimer.
Yeah. Yep. And these are just a sampling, okay? But what we're talking about here is how many chances are you going to get? This goes back to the Daniel Dye situation. How many chances are you going to get? Because there are a whole heck of a lot of other drivers out there who have much more talent than Dye or Decker or probably even Haley Deegan, with all due respect to her. But they're not getting the breaks because they can't bring a check. And I miss the point when we used to be able to advance up through the ranks of whatever series
based upon
your talent. And the owner goes, you're talented. You're going to get the results. You're going to put my car up in the top 10, up in the top 5 in victory lane. The sponsorship will come.
The last one and most recent one that I can think of that has earned his way up the ladder based off of pure talent and driving ability is Kyle Larson.
And how long has he been in the Cup Series?
Quite a while.
There you go. When we come back, guy who's trying to prove he's got that talent has got his next Truck Series race scheduled. We'll tell you about Mr. Cletus McFarland right after this.
Don't touch that dial. The Championship Racing Network will be right back.
1212 800-555-1212 now.
These statements and products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
Back to the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back in. We're right in the middle of talking about things going on in the world of NASCAR, specifically the Craftsman Truck Series. Talked about last night at Nashville. Looking ahead here, if you're a fan of Cletus McFarland, and let's face it, they're out there in spades. We talked about this within the last couple of weeks. What I saw when Cletus McFarland was running that ARCA Menard Series race at Talladega reminded me so much of Dale Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Jr. and those guys who are just the fan favorites of a place at Talladega. You hear the name during driver introductions and the stands shake because everybody's cheering. Mm-hmm. They'll get out there on the track, and if they're not sitting on the pole, after about 4 laps at Talladega, everybody settles down. They start to sit down after the initial rush and the energy. But they're watching that car. And in the case of Cletus McFarland, they were watching his car. And he started working his way up, getting up close to the front. And the closer he got to the front, the more people sat up and started paying attention. And once he got up in the top 5, top 2, top 3, they're on the edge of their seat. And when he takes the lead, they're all on their feet. And again, the stands are shaking because they're all cheering for him. He's that kind of fan favorite. That's what I saw with Dale Earnhardt Jr. It's what I saw with Dale Earnhardt back in the day.
That ARCA race, he was definitely, you could tell he was in a different zone and driving completely different.
Yeah.
He was driving aggressive, and everybody else took notice that the aggressive driving that he was doing. And plus, it did not hurt that he had a really good car underneath him.
Sure.
Everybody took notice.
But he also wasn't a bull in a china shop.
He wasn't. I mean, in the start that he got, at Daytona, even though it was short-lived, but the start that he got at Daytona in the Ford truck, and then even the start he got in the 33 car at Rockingham, you could tell his confidence level is improving.
It is.
And it's gaining. And now that he released it this week on, he does through his YouTube channel and everything. He released it this week that his pro late model is completed.
Okay.
And Port City had to build him because he's so tall. Port City had to build him a specialized late model that was built for taller guys. So when he gets into that, gets him running more late model stuff, in which they run pro late models at the track that he owns, so he's basically got a free stomping ground to go test in. He's going to get better and better.
Oh yeah,
he's got the ability.
And to continue on the conversation that we were having just before the break, NASCAR kind of artificially put some brakes on him, which is not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but we also question the reasoning for it. And what he's doing is he's working his way up through ARCA, through the lower series, to be able to prove the fact that he has the car control and the ability to race in packs at a Daytona, at a Talladega, or at some of these larger tracks where you're going to need car, or in this case, truck control.
Kansas ARCA race, his grade on that was until the oil line blew and he had to catch the car and the engine let go. He got an A for Kansas. Mm-hmm. Rockingham for the O'Reilly race, Rockingham ARCA race, A+, because he finished 4th that race. Mm-hmm. Rockingham O'Reilly, I'm going to say a C grade.
I was thinking somewhere in that area.
Yeah. I'm going to say a C minus. Well, it's not terrible, but it's not spectacular, because I know Ken Schrader said it, Mark Martin said it, and several others said it. You're making your inaugural start in O'Reilly Busch Series, Nationwide, whatever you want to call it, at hands down one of the toughest tracks, if not the toughest track in the nation.
Absolutely.
To make an inaugural start.
Yeah.
Okay. He's getting himself admirable laps. That's how I'm going to word it. Because the old saying in motorsports, there is absolutely nothing more valuable than seat time. Nothing.
But he's also got people that are willing to give him hints and tips, and he's listening.
Oh yeah, he's listening, because what a lot of people that don't realize is the O'Reilly cars that he's been driving. There's one in particular wrench that is helping set that car up and helping him with stuff. And he's basically running an identical setup to Jesse Love. That's Danny Stockman.
Mm-hmm.
Danny Stockman has been huge in talking with him, set up stuff, helping him go through data, things like that. But I think today in Nashville, I think he redeems himself. And he has a very solid lead lap finish. But I think from a truck series standpoint, because he's going to get more starts than just Michigan and Talladega. I see it coming.
Yeah.
He's going to have more. Michigan I think, is going to be his coming out party.
Yeah, it's going to be a good test, because if you think about it, this is one of the faster tracks that we're on.
For trucks, absolutely.
Yeah. So he's going to be, when the Truck Series races at Michigan next weekend, behind the wheel of the number 4 for Nice Motorsports. Drove that same truck at Daytona, kicked off the season. He's slated to be in that truck at Talladega when the racing returns to our home track later in October. And I think you're right, especially if he proves himself today at Nashville and at Michigan. Because, again, there's going to be some control issues there with the speed that these trucks can get up to on that track.
Yeah.
If he can do well this weekend and next weekend, that just means more and more races will begin to come his way.
And when you do some deep dives within some people that are within the industry through social media, I say these words very, very, very loosely. Very loosely. There's a reason behind these starts that he's getting are slowly increasing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain car that, by technicality, doesn't have a full-time driver right now that is underneath the same roof as that O'Reilly car. It's not going to overly shock me that at a short track, and that's what I'm going to say, a short track, if he doesn't get a start in that 33 car, better formerly known as car 8.
Yeah, could happen. Where? I mean, knowing the fact that they balked at him going to a Daytona or a Talladega in the Cup Series car, where would you, if you're in Richard Childress's seat, let's put it that way, and you're going to put Cletus McFarland in the 33 car in a Cup Series race, looking at the schedule coming up, where are you putting him?
I'm going to backtrack on this point right here. I'm going to say redeems himself admirably. Nashville today and in Michigan next weekend. I see no reason to where they don't clear him to start Daytona and O'Reilly in August.
Okay. Which is kind of what all started this whole thing.
That's what started.
Was Daytona in August.
Well, really was going to be Talladega, but
true.
Rockingham, he really didn't get a full chance to do a full live pit stop. But that's the one thing that they singled out that they were looking for,
right?
A live pit stop. He'll get that chance today, all right? But this will open the door for Daytona in August. Now, you go to Daytona in or Talladega or Atlanta, perhaps, in an RCR super speedway car. I don't even need to say it. I don't even need to say it because you're going to be up front. You're going to have one of the strongest bullets that lowers off of a lift gate in the garage area.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question. But he gets that clearance and he successfully passes Daytona in August, which I think he will. I could see somewhere, probably Martinsville.
Okay.
I could see Martinsville because it's a slower pace. You're not wide open in a tight pack. I could honestly see Martinsville. maybe Bristol.
Right. Okay. So this is what we know. They're kind of piecemealing this out throughout the course of the rest of the year on that 33 car. I can see the question coming, so I'm just going to go ahead and beat everybody to the punch. RCR obviously has to fill that car. They're not going to do it this year.
There won't. I don't think there will be a full-time complete driver that sits in that seat the rest of the year.
I agree.
I think Austin Hill will get the bulk of the starts because of the companion events.
But there's also Jesse Love.
True.
Who has proven himself to be very, very capable behind the wheel of an RCR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series car. Like you said, there's Cletus McFarland, who has a deal to run a handful of O'Reilly Auto Parts Series races for RCR between now and through the end of next year. No disrespect to Cletus, but he's not the front runner to get that full-time ride next year.
No.
If you were to guess who the front runner is it Jesse Love, is it Austin Hill, or is it another driver that we're not looking at yet, knowing the fact that silly season really hasn't gotten underway yet?
Right now, you have to say the leader in the clubhouse is going to be Austin Hill.
Mm-hmm. And his resume in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series would certainly state that he's probably ready.
Yeah, but you got to give Jesse Love a fair look.
Okay.
But at the same time, I'm 33, 33, 34. I'm split three ways here. I think Chevrolet is going to have some form of an influence of somebody that might be in the pipeline somewhere to take a look at, to give them a shot and give them a crack at it.
And there's also the possibility they could try and steal somebody else's talent. I mean, we've talked about the pipeline at Ford. It's not great.
I mean, you could go in.
We've talked about the pipeline at Toyota, though, and they got a lot of talent over there.
Oh, a ton of talent.
Could they try and steal somebody out from under the Toyota banner?
That's a tough one because Toyota's I think Toyota's got their succession plan in line, if that's how you want to put it, of who would fall where.
Mm-hmm.
Toyota's got the heavier load of talent.
Yeah.
Chevrolet's got the second heaviest load. Because there's a lot of people in the Chevrolet pipeline there that are down there that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah, I would agree.
So,
still put Austin Hill as the leader in the clubhouse?
I would say Austin Hill is the leader in the clubhouse, but you got to give Jesse Love a look. But at the same time, you could go somewhere and look like Ford or Toyota or somewhere else, just kind of the same way Chevrolet done Toyota with Taylor Reimer. And there's another one. I just drew a total complete blank here. But giving somebody else a look. I mean, I wouldn't be against going to see if I could swap Josh Berry and get him back to Chevrolet.
There you go. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. In the meantime, John Bird, we got to take a break here, so let's go ahead and do that. Take our final break here. When we come back, we'll talk some straight line racing here. IHRA had to make some changes. Talked about the situation in Montgomery Dragway. Well, rain got involved last weekend for them as well. So we'll talk about that. And in the NHRA, yeah, they've got that action coming up this weekend that we talked about up in Maryland. But Matt noticed something that, I don't know, is it a major concern? We'll talk about it next.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network. Of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
So I can fumble my own headphones trying to put them on. Welcome back into the show. Final segment of today's show. And on CRN Live on YouTube, it's really, really cool. We got some people who are really relatively close geographically to where we are here in the Birmingham area. We got some people all around the world who are listening to us. One of them is named Athena. She's over in Greece. And she has gotten into racing on a big time, and we love the fact that she found our show, and she's become a loyal listener over the course of time, or a loyal watcher. She sent me a poster of a rally that she's going to be an official at here in just a couple more weeks. She sends me the poster, and it's all in Greek. And I'm not joking. It's all in Greek. I'm sorry, I've never learned Greek. But I can tell it's on the 13th and the 14th. That much I can tell. And I know you're going to have a great time. I think it's absolutely fantastic, Athena. I hope you have a great time doing it. Look forward to hearing all about it because that should be cool. Rally racing in Greece. A lot of fun. A lot of fun.
That's different.
It's a different form of racing. There ain't no doubt about it.
Yep.
Really, really cool stuff. Okay, drag racing situation here. They are racing in Mechanicsville, Maryland, Potomac NHRA Nationals presented by Jegs.
Budds Creek.
You noticed something about the entry lists here. And as a general rule, the NHRA has their finals ladders. And when you qualify, some people go home if they don't make the top 16. Apparently, that's not going to be a problem this weekend?
Apparently not, because when you look at everything right now on the qualifying ladders, top fuel, there are only 15 cars.
Oof.
Funny car. Funny car only has 15. I mean, Dale Worsham and Lex June out of IHRA have jumped up and went to run with them. Pro Stock's only got 16.
So everybody makes the field.
Pro Stock Motorcycle, 15.
You found out the reason for one, specifically Matt Smith.
Yeah, Matt Smith, Chip Ellis is running his bike this weekend because Matt Smith is in the hospital. And
something Matt's familiar with.
Yeah, something I'm real familiar with a couple of weeks ago, having gallbladder and gallstone issues.
Ooh. And I've been there. It ain't fun.
No. I will say this publicly on air, and I don't care. I would rather have thyroid surgery and have my throat cut again than have gallbladder surgery.
Mm.
The thyroid surgery I had was less painful than the gallbladder.
Yeah. Well, you had complications after the fact, too.
Yeah, the complications that I dealt with for about a week didn't help matters none.
Yeah.
Either.
My situation was I found out about it. It was emergency, needed to be pulled out, so they scheduled an emergency surgery the very next morning after I went into the hospital.
Same with me.
And the biggest situation that I dealt with, I didn't have the after effects that you did, infection, fever, and so on. Thank God. But there's always the situation of needing to kind of get used to the new diet and what your body will take and what it won't. And for some people, it's worse than others. For me, it wasn't truthfully all that bad. For Matt, it's a little bit more of an adjustment. We hope that in the case of Matt Smith, this is an easy thing.
For sure, yep.
And that this goes off without complication.
Top alcohol dragster, 12. Top alcohol funny car, 8.
Ow.
Comp eliminator,
Car count.
16.
Car count is hurting up there.
Top sportsman. There's somebody that would go home. They got 17.
Okay. So we finally fit one.
Yeah.
Found one, I should say. Oof.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's wild.
It is. That seems really, really low. And then IHRA officials. They ended up taking another race away from the southeastern part of the country. A few weeks ago, we've talked about this. Montgomery Dragway, they got moved because of a shooting that happened on the grounds of the facility. Now, Memphis Motorsports Park has lost their date, the IHRA says. This was due to being rained out last weekend. They were supposed to run it Memorial Day weekend. This was the first of their Triple Crown series where you get sincere payouts. I'm talking about big payouts. We'll get to the details on that in a moment. Well, when it got rained out last weekend, they decided they weren't going to put it back at Memphis Motorsports Park. Instead, what they're going to do is they're going to do 2 Triple Crown races in one weekend at Maple Grove Raceway in Pennsylvania, which they only bought that before the 2026 season began, too. Memphis Motorsports Park, I know, and we showed pictures of it back after the IHRA bought it. It was in rough shape. I don't know how good it looks now.
I would be interested, and this goes the same for Atlanta. I would be interested to see what type of progress is made already.
So this may be a part, number one, that they got to rain out. And number two, they realize now we have more time to do the rehab and the refurbishment on Memphis Motorsports Park.
Yeah, what it sounds to me is they took too big of a bite and tried to swallow it too quick and then realized, uh-oh, my stomach's upset.
Yeah.
Got to slow down and get it right.
Yeah.
I mean, I was hopeful about Memphis and even Atlanta.
I'm still hopeful for Atlanta because Atlanta's end of the year.
Yeah, Atlanta's end of the year, but time's creeping.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
and Mother Nature's not helping.
No, Mother Nature in the South doesn't help anything in the summer.
No.
So.
All right, so here's the new situation. Construction can continue on the rehab at Memphis Motorsports Park. Maple Grove now is getting what's called Triple Crown times 2. This will happen the weekend September 11, 12, 13, 14. And again, some of the highest payouts IHRA officials are saying in drag racing history, and they're probably right. So with the postponement, the schedule shows the first event at Hebron, Ohio, June 19th and 20th. Double weekend event, Maple Grove Raceway in mid-September. $1 million Triple Crown bonus for the winner of the Top Fuel division, winner of the Funny Car division, winner of the Mountain Motor Pro Stock division, and winner of the IHRA Pro Stock division. And it would go to any driver who could sweep all the events. Now, high hurdle to jump over to win 4 events in Top Fuel or Funny Car or Mountain Motor Pro Stock or Pro Stock, but not impossible. And you could walk away with $1 million bonus. I understand where they're coming from. This is one of the bigger payouts in drag racing history, not just IHRA. This is what, though, leads me to believe that the IHRA is going out and trying to make a splash. What they need to do, though, truthfully, is they need to get a TV deal. And I'm not saying it's necessarily going to be along the lines of what NHRA is doing with Fox, but they need to get a TV deal.
CBS Sports Network.
That would be fantastic.
Yep.
Or a streaming service, major streaming service, not just, a small one. Major streaming service, something like that. And they need to get butts in the seats. You can make all the news you want, but if it doesn't translate to butts in the seats at the events, you got a problem.
Those dates fall right after the U.S. Nationals for NHRA. So the question is now, because they were on the entry list, does Ron Capps and Matty Gordon make the trip back over to Maple Grove to compete in that event as they were originally scheduled?
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you now, they get back over there, there's your 2 favorites right there.
And believe you me, IHRA, you better tout that. And I mean, you better promote the fact that they're going to be there.
I mean, Top Fuel, I'm all due respect, Gary Pritchett, Top Fuel, Maddie Gordon's odds-on favorite for that one if she goes back.
And here's the thing. She walked in, she grabbed the attention of the NHRA fan base automatically, and she's backed it up. Yep. This is something the promotions crew of the IHRA need to be really, really banking on.
Yeah.
And play on it. If they're going to be there, play it up.
Right now, she's sitting 5th in the ladder. 5th in the qualifying order ladder right now.
There you go. Turn our attention over to Formula One with a couple more minutes left in the show. Wednesday of this week, Alpine showed off their new for 2027 title sponsor. It's going to replace the Swiss water purification company BWT. The new sponsor, luxury clothing brand Gucci. Can't make this stuff up. This marks the first time a luxury clothing brand is going to become a title sponsor in Formula One. For 2027, the official way to call out the team will be the Gucci Racing Alpine F1 team. Sorry, we're still calling them Alpine. The official look of the car, not shown off on Wednesday. What we do know is that signature pink and blue of BWT going away. Older Gucci logos have used black and gold. Others have shown green, red, and gold. The cover that they put on the Formula One car in the picture that we got on CRN Live on YouTube kind of shows all of that. So we'll see. And then, are we in the works of an FIA dictatorship? FIA President Mohammed bin Sulayem is proposed removing term limits that come with a position he's been voted into twice. So he'll be at 8 years by the end of this term. Current rule says the FIA president can only serve 12 years, even if the terms are non-consecutive. Reports coming out of Europe from a number of sources, including motorsport.com and BBC Sport, say he's asked about getting rid of that provision. I don't know if this is such a good thing.
Play by the rules and let it go.
Yeah. I mean, you've already stacked the rules into your favor, allowing you to basically run for president unopposed. Now you just want to just be there forever? Dude, settle down. Settle down. Are you the best thing for Formula One and the FIA? We could argue not. He's up there, Mohammed. Let somebody else do it, okay?
Of the Championship Racing Network.
Have a great weekend.